Hello everyone. I hope you can hear me. Let me know if you can hear me. Okay, so let me get up the live so I see the chat. Okay. Hello everyone. Okay, so I hope you're all ready to go for today's live webinar. So as I already said before, today we're going to be talking about the 4 different questions that we do have or that you should ask yourself before we start trading. Okay, for me that is important because what I always say, trading for me comes with a lot of preparation, and I think the preparation actually starts like before you make this conscious decision that you do want to go become a trader or invest into the time. So for me, we can start step by step, and then of course I will also show you like how in the end we can help you, or how we help our members to go forward with that. So obviously I have some questions where you guys can interact as well and you can vote, and then we can just go from there. Okay, so for me, as I said, we need to start with 4 important questions that, in my opinion, I wish I would have asked myself before I first get into trading, but that I also advise when people book a free call or just in their onboarding, because I think having the right expectation is obviously very important in not setting yourself up for failure in the end, right? Okay, so if we have a look at the very first question, this would be, are you capable of and motivated to study charts over the long term? Okay, and for me, the importance here is very the long term. Trading is not like taught in a month or 2. I know people want you to believe that on social media. I'm sorry if I'm the dream crusher here, but I personally don't think this is realistic. And from my experience, obviously my own experience, but also from working with the members now for over almost 2 years now, I can see that obviously it doesn't work in a month or 2. Okay, so for me, in the end, trading isn't about luck or about gambling. It's about the continuous learning and analysis that we have to apply. Okay, so honestly, you need to ask yourself genuinely if you enjoy studying charts, trends, and of course also analyzing your data. Okay, because consistency and also curiosity, for me, are what separates successful traders from the rest. Okay, because we need to start with this curiosity, but then we need the drive to keep going and keep learning. Okay, because obviously different market environments, different development, like on Friday we saw that as well, the tariff fear was back on the market, so a lot of fundamental drivers, but all of this takes time to learn. Okay, we don't just learn this in a week or 2. That's not possible. This is the long-term learning. Okay, so now I want to ask you, are you motivated to learn? Are you able to motivated to study over the long term? You can put this in the comment section, and then it should automatically vote for you. Actually, maybe I should have put a longer timer, so I'm not sure if this is too short now. But the idea is that you really need to ask yourself if you are ready for this commitment, because I do think that you need to be committed in the long run. Okay, great. We already see 1 vote. Sorry, I will warn you the next time because the timer was relatively short. Okay, but for me this is very important because you need to be willing to commit. If you think you're going to be successful in a week or 2, you're someone who does something for 2 weeks and then switches off, I'm honest, save your time. I don't think trading is the right thing for you. Okay, so let's move on, I would say, to the second question, because I think now all the other questions, they build on this initial first motivation question, because I think in the end we also always have intrinsic motivation, right? Everybody has a reason why they want to do trading, whether obviously it's money. Personally, for me, it was always the freedom of my time, that I can choose when I want to work, that motivated me to keep learning and obviously to do more hours during uni, not just do my uni, do football. No, I was also studying the charts, learning, spending my weekends looking at charts. So now I'm obviously able to have a flexible job and decide when I want to work, where I want to work. Obviously, right now I'm in Cambodia, so it's like obviously the flexibility that comes with it. That was my motivation that enabled me to still play football at a professional level. And obviously, this is something where you need to ask yourself, what's your motivation? Maybe you just want to have more time with your family. Maybe you want to have some extra money you can give for your parents, whatever it might be, okay? Find your motivation, because this will bring you through the hard times, okay? Now let's move on to the second question. And this is, are you willing to confront yourself and your emotion honestly, okay? And I think this is where most traders fail, because they are not honest to themselves, okay? Emotional control is honestly one of the hardest part in trading, and you need to be brutally honest with yourself, because if you lie to yourself, you're not gonna get better, okay? So can you handle your losses without panicking? Can you stay grounded during wins? And self-awareness, in my opinion, is the main tool that we need for long-term success in trading. And to be honest, this is something where at the beginning I was not ready, and I wasn't even aware that this is an issue. So this is where I think if you're aware that you have an emotional impact on your trading, you're already a step ahead than what I was when I first started. I was closing trades very early, like 10-15 pips, but then in drawdown I would stress a lot. But over the time experience I gained, I realized it doesn't help me if I stress over trades or if I close them early, because in the end I'm not better off. And this is what we also teach in our membership, is to have a checklist that you make decisions rational rather than emotional, because we're human beings, right? By evolution, if we don't know what to do, what are we doing to survive? We rely on our emotions. But in trading, this is the worst decision we can make. Why is that? Because obviously, if we do rely on our emotions, we're not making a good decision, because maybe we lost the trade before, so we are fearful. Or maybe we won the trade before, so we are greedy. So we need to have set parameters in place that hold us accountable, that we make the same decision over and over. How can we do this? With building a trading plan that tells you what to base your decision on, so you're not relying on your emotions, right? And for me, this took a long time to realize that wasn't a strategy, it wasn't what I was doing on the charts, it wasn't the charting, it was my own emotions that was holding me back to move from a break-even trader to a profitable trader, okay? So this is where, for me as well, I saw my journal and I saw, hey, I should have an 80-90% win rate, but my win rate was only around 60%. Why was that? Because I wasn't executing all my trades, because I was afraid, I was fearful. So all these emotions obviously didn't help with this, okay? So this is the main issue that I had at the beginning, was not being aware of my emotions, okay? So now, again, let's have another question for you that you can answer in the chat as well. And again, you have a little 15-second timer, so make sure to be quick and to put your answer in the chat. You can see here. Oh, this is not right. Then let's move on to the next one, sorry. Okay, so the next question is actually, are you willing, do you have no financial pressure to achieve quick success? Okay, this maybe sounds a little bit odd at first, but I think this is a very important one. The reason for that is, if you're trading with money, you can't afford to lose because you need it, or you feel desperate to make quick profits, you were very likely to make emotional, again, very short-sighted decisions, right? Because patience and financial stability is key to following a disciplined strategy. If you know you need money at the end of the month from your trading, you will force a trade. Okay, I can tell you this now, trading is not a job where you have a regular income or the same income every month. For example, for me, the second or third month this year was, obviously, we had Trump's, we had the tariffs. So for me, the main issue there wasn't that I didn't want to rush into a trade. I had the patience to not take any trades. Okay, so then after I journal the trades, evaluate was it the right decision or not. But you need to be able to have that flexibility and the patience if the bigger market environment kind of changes, because this is something we can't influence, right? Like at the end of the day, this is something that is out of our control, right? If there is Trump that makes crazy fundamental decision that's moving the entire market, same as Friday, then obviously this is something that's out of our control, but then I can't force a trade, because in the end I would have lost money forcing a trade. So this is why I also talk to a lot of people on the trading floor about this. When people said, yeah, I quit my job to come to the trading floor to learn. Okay, this is good, but how long did you give yourself time to actually become profitable? Because if it's less than 6 months, I personally think you're setting yourself up for failure, because you're already having so much pressure on your trading without actually having the results. And this is something I realized as well. So after uni, when I first went to the trading floor, something where I was like, for the first time, okay, hey, I do need to make money from this now, and like consistently. It's, of course, you have savings you can rely on, but in the end, of course, you want to have a frequent source of income, right? But I think the longer you do trading, the more you realize as well that the more you're forcing it, the less likely you will have a good outcome, right? So for me, what's very important is here that you just need to stay calm in that sense and give yourself the time. If you think about anything in trading, or like in the world even, where you think you're earning a decent amount of income, let it be a doctor, let it be a lawyer, let it be even a master's degree, right? Like I committed 5 years of my entire life to getting a master's degree, and on the process and the way I was like, yeah, well, I'm getting this piece of paper that I can say I have a master's degree in, but I can't actually do a job, can I? Right? I'm gonna hand this paper to the university, to a job interview, and be like, hey, please teach me how to do your job, because I have this theoretical knowledge, but I don't actually know how to do the job, right? So this is when I realized, hey, maybe I do want to do something where I work for myself and I can make my own rules, right? So this is obviously something where you need to commit. I'm not saying trading will take you 5 years, but I genuinely recommend, if you're willing to give yourself 1 year, and obviously, again, this comes down as well, right? If we have members that join every live stream, that are very active in the chat, that have a fixed routine, that stick with it, of course, they will be much better off than those who maybe join a live stream once in a month, right? So for me, that's very important that you're aware of what is the bigger picture for you. Do you have the time? Are you able to do the commitment? And how can you implement it in your daily routine, okay? For me, what's important to mention here as well is that obviously we trade it daily. So for us, the main idea is that we don't want to have a lot of screen time. We just set pendings and then we just adjust for 5-10 minutes, okay? So for me, this is the bare minimum of effort every of our traders who joins in our membership needs to make, okay? But it comes back to, do you have the time to do that, and do you have the financial resources to do that as well, right? Because to me, if you're not in a good financial situation and you're putting that pressure on your trading, you genuinely will force trade. You will be more emotional. You will not accept losses. You just put yourself into a downward spiral. So this is why I genuinely don't recommend doing that. And obviously, again, I guess you're the only person who's able to really answer that, if you're in the right position to commit to this, or if you're willing to make the commitment or not, okay? Then, for the fourth question, I would say this is maybe the most basic one, okay? Do you have no fear of detailed documentation? Maybe at the beginning this sounds a bit odd, but the amount of times I've heard, oh, I hate journaling, I don't want to journal, I forgot. For me, keeping a detailed record of your trades, okay, and the strategy, of course, also of the outcome, is essential. And this is why we obviously have our own proprietary trading journal that Dan has established, because it's so important that you have something that fits your strategy to control yourself, your emotions, to keep you in check, but also, of course, you need to base your trading plan on something, right? Not your emotions, not what anybody else says, but on your data. And the only way you can do that is by tracking your data and then being able to evaluate it. I had so many traders in the onboarding that said that, hey, yeah, I've been journaling. And then I asked them, what's your win rate? What's your average risk to reward? And they don't know. So clearly, just tracking the data isn't enough. You need to detail, like document it, but then you also need to evaluate it, right? You need to reflect, you need to identify patterns, and of course this will lead you to improve over time, right? If you will not afraid of this process and you're committing to, for example, I always say, do your journal every Friday. This will hold you accountable. You have a free weekend. You know what trades happened. You know if there was fundamentals or not. Ideally, just journal your trade while you're in it. It holds yourself like for your inner eye. You can see, okay, hey, this was my confluence. This was my confluence. You clearly see, okay, hey, I have all the reasons to be in the trade and I don't need to panic. And it holds you, it gives you more time at the end of the week that you don't need to journal. Okay, so for me, that's another very important question you need to ask yourself, okay? Because it comes back to you being honest with yourself. If you know you won't stick to that and you know you will not, you're afraid of doing the work, or you're not someone who can do something consistently, really step out of your comfort zone and try to do this consistently, okay? Then here's the next question. You have 13 seconds. So are you willing to do the work? Is that something for you that you really want to do? Are you willing to commit? Okay, I'm seeing some votes. That is very good. And of course, only the right ones. That's what I like to see. Okay, good job, guys. For me, this is very important because you need to be aware of that you're willing to do the work based on your initial motivation or your reason why you want to go into trading, to then overcome the obstacles of, oh, my friends are going out to party, but I decided to stay in to evaluate my journal, or I'm staying up late to do this, or on a Sunday evening, I'm tired after my football game. No, I still have to update my charts. I need to prepare. All of this comes from your intrinsic motivation, okay? And I want to guide you a little bit more and basically give you 4 elements that I teach also in our one-to-one membership, the same as our traders Dan and Rom do, and just 4 elements that show you what, in my opinion, you need to have as a trader, or what are the basics of that, okay? So if we look at 4 elements, do you guys have any idea what any of the 4 elements could be? For me, what is important here is that I always like to think in terms of like pyramids or something that has a foundation and then you build on top of that, okay? We've done this in our tier system for our gold membership and the reviews as well. So I will explain this later to you. But the importance for me is you need to establish a framework, right? To me, genuinely, the basis is consistent work, okay? And this is something regardless of your income, your gender, your age, whatever it might be, your time, this is something you can influence. If you say, hey, every day, 15, 20, 30 minutes, I'm willing to commit to trading, I want to do the consistent work, I need to update my charts, I look for a driver, I journal in the evening, then this is the basic for it all, okay? You don't need to be special, you don't need to be super smart, you don't need to know a lot. I'm getting this question a lot as well, like, do I need to know something before I need to join a membership? Of course not, right? This is what the membership is for. It's there to teach you, not to already have expectation that you need to know anything, okay? So the framework for me is definitely the consistent work, okay? What builds on top of that is the honest self-reflection. We already talked about that. You need to be honest with yourself. And I know for a lot of people this is hard. I've had it a few times in the reviews as well. It's like, why did you make the same mistake again? You saw the last 4 times you did the mistake. You weren't better off after. So why do you think doing it 4 times, the 5th time it's going to change? Your data should show you. Don't listen to your emotions. Really hold yourself accountable. And I personally had the same experience with this. And for me, it was actually at the trading floor that I was doing my journal and I was talking to Seb and he was telling me, listen, Saskia, you could be an even better trader than you already are. You just need to step out of your comfort zone and trust your analysis. Or he said, I remember this, you need to trust me that I trust your analysis and just follow your trades. And this is what I did for 1 month. I just took every trade. I didn't think about it. And all of a sudden, my win rate jumped by almost 10%. So this is sometimes where you just need this little bit of encouragement because I felt so new. I wasn't sure. Like, yes, I was profitable for a few months. Yes, I passed a challenge. But I was like, oh, I don't have years of experience. Maybe I need to take profits quicker. No, you don't need to overthink it. You just need to be honest with yourself. But this was my biggest issue. Maybe because I'm a female and I'm an overthinker, I don't know. But you need to be honest with yourself that don't make it more complicated than it needs to be. If you see your data tells you you can take a 1 to 2 risk or what, take it. Don't think about it. That's it. The stats making your rules, not your emotions, okay? But of course, I needed to be honest with myself and be like, okay, I'm overthinking this, I'm being emotional, I'm trying to close this too early, even though I shouldn't be, okay? So then for the third part, for me, as I said, the patience, the growth is important, okay? Our membership, the Go membership, is minimum 6 months that we say, okay? But we had members, or like 2 or 3 of our most successful ones that completed tier 1, tier 2, or tier 3. I would say they have taken around a year. They did a little bit of their experience before. So I just want to give you, honestly, realistic expectations as well, right? We're not going to make you profitable in 3 months. This is not how it works. Obviously, a lot of the times we trade a daily time frame. Some of our members like the H1 mode, and obviously your learning process is quicker because you will have more trades, but you also will have more screen time, right? So this might work for someone who's in home office. We actually have a few members who are pilots. So obviously they can't trade H1 because they have 8-7-6 hours flight where they can check their charts, and that's okay. They just need to adjust their trading style accordingly, right? So this is why it's very important. Yes, I will explain the tiers in a little bit. Don't worry, it comes at the end. But basically, we have a tier 1 where everybody starts, and then if after you reach a certain win rate, we move you to tier 2 where we just journal a bit more data, because obviously in the beginning we need to see that you apply the strategy correctly, right? There's no reason for us to track your management, your execution rate, and all of these if you're not applying the strategy correctly, right? So tier 1, we want to help you to understand the strategy, apply it correctly. Then tier 2, we have a few more options to track in the journal, and then we focus more on trade management. You have more consistency, more rules. We establish or start establishing your trading plan. Then once your win rate is above 75%, you will be in tier 3. That is genuinely with Seb. So obviously he's the CEO and the founder of the company, and like obviously the founder of the strategy we trade as well, right? And then in tier 3, you will be able with him to maximize your trading. So what I already said, he looked at my data and he said, Saskia, you need to hold your trades longer. You see your trades are giving more trades, you're taking profits too early. So then all of a sudden you're making more R at the end of the month without taking more trades, just by holding your trades longer, okay? So this is where it's very important, where we then go into the final steps of the optimization of how can you take more from your trades, how can you adjust your win rate, etc., etc., okay? So this is basically the final stage we want to be in. And this is why I said it takes growth, it takes time. You can't expect to jump from tier 1 of understanding the strategy a week ago to then jump to tier 3, where all of a sudden we are optimizing what you're doing, okay? So this is why I said be patient with yourself. Actually, Dan, I will upload the reel in a bit. He did a very good reel on that today as well, about patient growth and giving yourself the time you need to become a successful trader, because it's the same thing. Like if you want to learn the piano, you will not be perfect in that in a month or 3. This takes a year, 2 or 3 years, because you're gaining a lot of experience, right? The same for me with playing football. I didn't get good at that for doing it for 1 year, for 6 months, for 3 months. No, I did this for years, right? Obviously, I think that's a different extreme, okay? But if you want to really learn like a skill, obviously you need to commit time to it, right? And then last but not least, we also have, as I said, the continuous development. You need to be able to commit to your own self to become better, because trading in the end, it's a you versus you game. Doesn't matter what I do, what Seb does, what Dan, what Rom does, whoever does, it doesn't matter. You need to be willing to commit to yourself and work on yourself. You need to analyze your data, and you will need to build your trading plan. Yes, of course, we will guide you along the way. We give you a framework, we give you ideas, we give you different checklists. But in the end, you are the person who needs to do the work, right? And this is very important. Where's the point of me? Of course, if you ask me, I will always give you my advice or how I would do it. But in the end, you need to find what works for you. Those pilots, they can trade the same way I trade, because I can be basically on chart every time of the day, right? So of course my trading style can be more aggressive compared to someone who maybe has a 9 to 5 where they can't be on the screen, and that's okay. But this is why your development will look different than mine, will look different than someone else's, and this is the beauty of the strategy, because we are able to adjust it according to your needs. Okay, then you have your own trade, your own data, your own belief that you can trust, And then, as I said, in the end, be self-independent as a trader to really have that trust in a strategy that the way you've built it for you is working. And then obviously you are able to do this over the long run. If I'm just force feeding you something that maybe doesn't fit your style, it will never work. And this is where I always say you need to adjust, because everything you do in life, every pianist, every football player, yes, they all do the same thing, but every single one has their own style. And this is really what we want to do in the membership. And the process of it is, being able to create your own style. Okay, so now we've spoken about the basic 4 questions. I've seen a lot of answers of people who are willing to commit. We've spoken about the 4 elements of what are the steps, what do we need to be aware of. So now let's have a little bit more detailed look about how you can start it with us at FXC and how this could look like. Okay, so first of all, for me, what is always important, as I said, it's a process, okay? It's not a 1 hour, 2 hour seminar. It's a long-term commitment you're willing to make for yourself, for your future self, okay? So we always recommend, or I recommend, if you're completely new, if you don't know anything in trading, you don't have no background, have a look at our trading book. It's on our website. It's for free, okay? It just shows you the basic key forex term. What is a candle? What's a bull market? What's a bear market? Okay, just the basics of technical analysis, what are indicators, some of the fundamental terms, really the basics, because this is where we need to start, right? If someone is completely new, if they don't have any background, that you need to start with the basics. Otherwise, you won't understand anything later on. And this is why we have it for free on the website as well, because maybe you read this and you say, hey, this is really not for me. And this is okay as well, right? Like, I think trading isn't for everyone. You really need to be honest. Like, obviously, I had my doubts at the beginning as well, but you see so many people who go into it and so many go out of it. There's a reason why so many people fail, because they are not willing to commit consistently. But I think this is with everything in life. Not a lot of people are willing to really consistently work for something. And this is why you see the members who come out on tier 3, they are obviously a small percentage, but they are the ones who do the work, who want to do it, and who, even though they had some obviously negative months, negative weeks, downturns as well, they overcome these obstacles by their drive to continuously improve, right? Okay, so this is basically the basics introduction, okay? As I said, have a look on our website. It's for free there. We also have a free library, so you can see what we offer. But then what the main product is, I would say, is our 50 cal analysis, okay? So the 50 cal is basically based on the strategy that Seb developed, okay? So from this strategy, you basically again have an introduction to Forex, how he uses fundamentals, the technicals, patterns, just how we use the strategy that we trade. I always say you can always join our membership first, have a look a month or 2 if you can get by without the course. But if you say no, you want to be everything from A to B to C to D, all the basics, then of course get the course right away, right? So for me, that really depends on what kind of person you are. If you're willing to do more work, watch all the videos in the Discord, then just get the membership. If you say no, I want everything explained from A to B to C, then get the course, right? So I'm always willing to say, hey, maybe try out the membership first, and then you see if you would like to get the course, okay? And the good thing is, if you get the course, you will have lifetime access to our 50 cal chat in our Discord server. So obviously then you only make a payment once and you will have access for that to ever. And then we have a lot of members that are active in there as well, me giving feedback and then obviously discussing how they can improve their trading, right? Because that's what it's all about having a community with traders that trade similar, and then of course having feedback on that, okay? Then we also have our memberships, and I would start with our silver membership, okay? Because I think this is, besides the gold membership, I would say it's the most used membership. So here we have our chart analysis service, okay? You can see here, Ron, for example, he would send a chart, a picture where he marks his buy and sell zones, and then you can see how he updates his live management, what he's applying, and how it's going, okay? You also have video breakdowns. So Dan sends this every Sunday, okay, or Saturday. He sends his views on the entire Forex market ahead, his views, whatever it is, okay? And then the next thing that is very important for this as well for me if you have a look at this, is that we also have 2 weekly live streams. Okay, so one is by me done every Sunday. Every Sunday you will see me, or Monday if there's, for example, gaps or whatever happening, you will see me chatting up with the members, preparing for the week ahead. And this is the consistency. Again, every weekend Dan will send his videos. You will see me send it every Sunday as well. Same thing, it forces obviously us in consistency, okay, but it also forces you, because I always tell the members, do your charts before, have your questions ready, so then we can prepare together for the week ahead, right? And then the exact same thing, update in the middle of the week is with Dan on the Thursday. Sometimes we do it together as well. It's a similar situation. You can ask questions, you get feedback on your chart. Sometimes I ask the members to share. And of course, this is the idea, right? It's not just about the server. It's about really giving this one-to-one feedback besides just the monthly review that we offer in our gold membership, okay? So this is really the upside of the silver membership, that you can see, hey, you see how the more experienced traders, how are they managing their trade? What is their thoughts? You see the charts, how they mark it up, how they find their zones, right? So it's basically learning how the strategy is applied by seeing how it is applied, right? Then we also have our gold membership, okay? So in our gold membership, what you can see here is that we have the fundamental section that I would really say is like, in the middle of the entire gold membership, where Seb and I share our insights on what is happening fundamentally. So for example, on Friday we were explaining what was happening, why we were dropping, the risk off we saw, why gold was going up, etc. Then yesterday in the live stream I said as well, I'm expecting a gap up again, because obviously the trade tension have eased. Apparently Xi and Trump are talking, right? All these updates, all this understanding is what comes with the fundamental section. Why is that so important in the gold membership? Because to me, this is how you can leverage the strategy, okay? You have a technical trade that you find, you have a fundamental bias, and you just leave part of your trade running, okay? For example, I had an NFP trade last month, okay? Because obviously this month NFP wasn't released. Weak US dollar, about gold. Right now, I think I'm running in the runner in profit like 2,000. Then I have a runner from, I think, last year's April or May, gold buy as well. So if you have this fundamental bias of weak US dollar or upside on gold, and you position yourself and you just let these trades run, then obviously you're making money without actually having to do more, right? And for me, this is the sweet spot of the strategy. You find your technical entry, you have the fundamental bias, and then there you go. You just have to let your trade run without doing anything more, right? So besides the fundamental section, you also get the precious metal and indices breakdown that Seb does. He does it on the daily, but he also does it on H1, okay? So you will get daily updates from him, how he sees the market, what trades he's looking at, okay? You will also get access to our trading journal that I already mentioned, that is like, basically modified for each of the tier systems that we have. Okay, so I already explained tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 to make your process a little bit easier, because you have milestones. Because I think at the beginning, when you look at your progress as a trader, at least for me, I didn't know what was my first goal, what was my next goal. I didn't have like a set procedure for me to develop. I was journaling a little bit I stopped journaling, I did this and that. No. We start journaling, we collect your data for a quarter, then we analyze, we maybe get rid of some pairs, we adjust, then we establish a trading plan based on the data. There's a step-by-step protocol that we follow from the beginning to the end. If you're interested to see that, that's also in our Discord. So if you just go on the Discord under the memberships, you will find the step-by-step guide that we follow in our gold membership as well, okay? Then, as I said, there's the one-to-one mentoring that can be with me, that can be with Dan, that can be with Rom. This is obviously your choice. Obviously, sometimes, like, I obviously do this German students as I speak German. So, like, obviously, if it's language, it's always easier. We offer French, I think Romanian as well. And then, of course, as I said, English and also German. And what's important for me here is that we have some students that only speak Spanish, but they are working a lot with a translator as well. And they said it works fine as well. So I do think we always try to keep it as simple as possible. And what's important for me, you can obviously choose your mentor. You can also, for example, be with me for 2 months, then go to someone else just to see the different aspect that each trader has to bring to the table, right? And then, as I said, tier 3, the goal is that you will be with SEP, and this is obviously the goal, that we prepare you to be a more advanced trader already. So SEP doesn't have to deal with the beginners, I would say, but also that you know this is your level up step, this is your goal, okay? Then, as I said, we have live webinars as well. So SEP does lives. I usually do every Thursday a trading floor live, okay? And what you can see as well, the workshops. So we always have like a charting exercise that we do in our Discord as well, and the access to the investor launch. So this is something we established actually in August, where obviously I personally come from a background of like stock trading, and then I came into Forex because obviously stock trading you can really only do successfully trading wise, not investing in a good bull market. So for me, when we had low inflation, very high inflation from 22, 23 area, it wasn't as good to trade stocks. So that's why for me in that area, I was looking into Forex. And this is actually how then I found FXC. Obviously was a member first, then became part of the team once I moved to the floor in England. And this is where for me, I'm just sharing the long-term process of wealth accumulation through ETFs, stocks, crypto, all the different financial assets that are out there. And then obviously also having a weekly live stream just to further the financial education, the basics of why should you invest in properties, why not, why should you invest let's say in cryptos, why should you invest in ETFs, why should you do stock picking, etc. Just highlighting everything you need to know, because for me this is what most people lack. They want to be successful trader, okay, but then what do you do if you earn more than the average person does? What do you do with your money? Do you just spend it all, or do you maybe decide to invest it so that your money works for you? Because my end goal is financial freedom of not even having to trade, because trading is still work. If I have enough money that I can invest passively that generates a return for me on a monthly, quarterly, yearly basis, and I don't need to do anything, that's my end goal. Because this means I have the ultimate time freedom, okay? So this is just there to help you to have this long-term investing, because even while you're still learning and you're maybe not profitable yet, you can already start a savings plan, invest every month, every week, whatever you prefer, to just have this passive portfolio slowly grow. Because for me, that's very important. It keeps you more patient in your day trading. And of course, then your goal with your day trading is to outperform your passive investing. Okay, and then what I also mentioned already is our trading journal in tier 3. As I said, this comes with the gold membership as well. And this is the bronze journal, okay? So you will get access to the highest tier actually. And of course, you also get technical support with the journal. Here you can see a picture of the journal. So obviously you already have the analysis with it. And I think most people that, for example, journal, let's say on Excel, they are lacking this because they don't have the evaluation from their data, okay? So for me, this is amazing with the journal. It's already pre-built. All you need to do is fill in your data and you will see your win rate per pair, your execution rate. All of these details you already have, okay? So this is, of course, what makes your life a little bit easier, because you don't need to work with this background. Or personally, I wouldn't even know how to do this, so I'm very happy that Dan does that. And whenever I have an idea what we can add, I just ask Dan, hey, how can we implement this? How can we do that? And then in the end, we do that, right? So for example, a few weeks ago, we implemented like a budget tracker, something that we gave to the members as well, to say, hey, have you looked where you're spending your money on? What's your net worth? Do you compare your net worth? Do you know what your net worth is, right? So all these little things to me are important for the bigger picture of your finances. And in the end, that's what we do trading for, right? Okay, so for the bronze membership, as I said, it comes with a journal access. And then here's just basically, an overview of, all the different, chart options, the different options that we have for you guys in our membership. Okay, so as I said, we have the silver membership, we have the gold membership, and the bronze membership, and of course we also have our course. Okay, so for me, we are basically at the end what I wanted to share with you guys today. The only thing that is left for me to do for you is to give you a little discount that is valid for 48 hours. if you do want to start, okay, you will get 20% off if you use the code JUMPSTART on any of our memberships, okay? So for me, this is what I can give to you. And of course, now, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the chat, and I'm more than happy to answer them, maybe to elaborate a little bit more if you want to know something about the tier system or anything specific. If there's anything unclear still or any questions that might just come up, let me know in the chat. And if not, if there's nothing left, then I hope to see you inside the Discord soon. If you first want to see how the strategy really works, you can always join our free Discord as well. I send weekly live trades in there and updates with the before video and after video, so you can always compare as well. And you will see that, for example, for the last quarter, I had 100% win rate doing that. And obviously the videos are sent before, updated when the trade is happening, and then obviously there's a weekly review as well. I think this is the most transparent way to show you it is working, but of course it's not as in-depth as our silver membership in regards to management, right? Okay, then any more question from you guys? Okay, then I thank you all for joining. As I said, if you have any questions, you can always reach me on Discord as well. Just send me a DM. I hope to see you inside soon. And as I said, any questions, feel free to reach out to me or any members of the team.